Hi, and welcome to A Voice for Echo. I'm Lauren TC. This is episode 5 in the mental health series. I'm here with Nashville recording artist Lissa Coulter and Nashville musician Chelsea Selke, who's actually on her way to Nashville right now. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. So this is the final episode in our video series here, and I thought it would be helpful to talk about some uplifting stuff, some positive stuff, because we've gotten into the weeds a lot with depression and anxiety, which is all very helpful and obviously what this series is about, but I just wanted to end kind of on a high note. I know we've talked over the past couple of days about some things that are empowering to us and saying no instead of saying yes all the time. So it's kind of the way that I thought we could flow today.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we were really talking about yesterday is the amount we say yes to people, thinking that it's for, oh, they're going to like us more, or, oh, we want to earn this person's respect, or whatever the case may be, when in reality, it's definitely something where it's like, you have to take into consideration, is this something that you can do? Like, is this something that you can handle? And just the importance of that, which I thought when we were talking about that really stood out.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. I have been, I guess what you would call a people pleaser,
Yes.
probably my whole life. And I mean, still am, but at least I'm aware of it and I'm trying to do things a little bit differently in certain situations and stuff like that. But for forever, I would just always say yes because I thought, oh, well, they'll like me, or they'll know that I'm reliable. They know they can count on me. They'll know I'm responsible. This will pay off in the end. And it would always be a yes to something that kind of compromised what I really wanted. Not my values. I wouldn't say yes to something that was like against my values or anything like that. But something that I don't want to do, I would say yes, especially like with work. I would say yes a lot in work situations because I'd be like, oh, maybe I'll get promoted, or they'll think of me the next time something great comes up or whatever. And that doesn't happen. I become a doormat.
For sure.
Sure. Now I'm like, you know what? Even if the reason is because I don't want to, I don't care. The answer is no.
I think like this actually just popped up in my head, like, which is kind of funny, just kind of like in the dating world, saying yes to a guy because like you want to make them like so incredibly happy and you want to be their everything and you want to show that you're worthy enough or whatever. But that's so important, like understanding just because, they want to talk to you at 3 a.m. doesn't mean you have to say yes. If you need to get up at 7 a.m. for work the next day, like that's not going to work for you. Just
so
things like that I think are really important to recognize for sure.
I think it took me up until very recently to start saying no to guys, like stuff like that. No, I'm not gonna hang out with you until 4 in the morning, kind of thing, like you said. Like I'm not gonna go out, and because when you do, you feel like crap in the morning,
right?
Especially if you have things to do and you like regret it. You have to like think of those feelings as dating. Like if they're asking you to go out or hang out or talk on the phone or whatever, you have to remember like you're gonna regret it in the morning.
And I think it also comes down to self-worth too. Like they should not be like, oh well, if they're not going to do that, they're not. We're like, no, if we're not going to comply with each other, then this isn't going to work out.
Right. I unfortunately never learned that when dating. You guys know I'm married now. I've been married for almost 7 years, so I don't have that issue, thankfully. Just a whole bunch of issues. No, just kidding. But no, when I was dating, marriage is hard, yo. No, but when when I was still dating, I didn't know how to say no. I dated guys, not because I was interested in them, because they were interested in me. I'd be like, oh, they like me. It's probably my only chance to have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I never even stopped to think, like, do I like them? What do I feel?
Right.
What do I think? What do I want? Never thought about it.
Exactly. And I think that's so big too. Like, I think that we're all like in such a rush to just like get to the next step and get to the next place, that it's not like we're not sitting there being like, okay, like what do I actually want from this? But we're just like, oh, someone likes me, someone takes interest in me. It's exciting. Like, and like as a human, like it's normal to want attention. And I think that's what kind of throws people back. Is like, oh, like I want attention, that's negative, but it's not. Like as humans, we need attention. I think it's important to like recognize that and recognize, yeah, we need attention, but we need the right kind of attention, and we need the attention that we want from a person that we want, not just because, oh, someone's giving us attention.
Exactly.
Right. I think that like kind of goes to the whole social media thing that we were going to talk about, because I feel like another thing is you see people getting married and having, or like in the perfect relationship and going on vacations together, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want that. I want to feel loved all the time. But at the end of the day, like we've talked about before, we only post the good know because they constantly posted and overcompensated. And it was like, wow, they're so in love. But like in reality, she was so miserable. And that's something that people, I mean, and I'm not saying that's everyone, because I mean, I've definitely posted things when I was in a relationship and I was super happy, but you shouldn't have to post things for satisfaction. And I think in our industry, that is something that is so hard because we're constantly told to post things and all the time. This week, I turned my social media off for 3 days and I literally felt completely refreshed just for 3 days. And like, that's how much it takes a toll on you.
Yeah. I took Facebook off of my phone in January and I have no regrets.
If it wasn't my job, I'd be on the same boat you. But there are some days where I'm on a bunch of engagement groups and basically like we just like each other's stuff, we comment on each other's stuff, and it's like sometimes I like will go off the grid with that for a week because it's like I need to breathe. I need and I always feel so bad because like it's definitely mutual and I always catch up after, but it's like just space to breathe. Go about our business. We're not going to focus too much on social media. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Those engagement groups are a lot.
Yeah, they are for sure. Lauren, do you know what an engagement group is?
No.
Okay, so basically just to kind of give people a little background is a lot of like musicians and probably like entertainers in general probably do this. Basically, we start these groups anywhere between like 10 to maybe like 25 of us, really it depends, and we'll post our posts that we posted that day in the group and everyone goes to comment and like it. Everyone in that group goes to comment and like the picture and you do it in return to the person, so it's like comment for comment.
Okay,
but
I kind of thought that was what it was. That's what it seemed like it probably was. That's a good idea.
It's a great idea. It's just a lot because it's giving a lot.
Right.
And social media in general is just so like overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah, because it's supposed to like help the algorithm.
Yeah, it's
like with comments.
And there's like specific ways to do it. It's crazy. It's just all based on, your algorithms are up and making sure that comments are up and, and you're looking good to others and all of that, which is like kind of like a behind the scenes of like what we do, I guess, is like that's the way that we're able to kind of like get our engagement up is by doing that. And definitely recommend it to anyone out there trying to do the music thing. Go for those engagement groups. Yeah, it's a lot about the attention that, we're getting. And even just looking like you're getting attention, I think kind of can put people on a high.
Yeah, like a dopamine hit or something.
Yeah, for sure.
That dopamine hit goes away and then you're like, where's my next one?
Yep, exactly.
So another thing we were talking about that I think is important to discuss, limiting beliefs and turning them into empowering beliefs. And I don't know about you guys, but it was only recently that I realized I had limiting beliefs about myself. I actually thought those beliefs were real and they were beliefs that everybody had about me. And it was kind of like, whoa, mind blown when I realized like, wait a second, this is my own belief that actually holds me back from anything, advancing in some way or whatever, or even feeling differently about myself. And this is not what other people think about me. This is my own thing.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's actually something that I touch on a lot with my artist development clients and something that I touch on myself like a lot with, like, and me and my dad, like, we'll have conversation after conversation. We cannot get enough of this topic. A big thing for me when I started in the music industry was understanding that in order to make it to where I wanted to be, my goals needed to be almost like in my head unreachable, or to other people's head unreachable. My biggest goal right now, like what I want to get out of my music career is I want to sell out Gillette Stadium. Like that is what I want to do. And that is what pushes me forward. That is what is like, okay, this is how I'm going to get to my next step. Let's work backwards and keep working backwards and keep working backwards. The big thing that I find what happens with a lot of artists that I work with, and a lot of them are just stepping into the industry. So they're people who in general haven't really done much with the industry, are just going about life, is my dad will literally have to say, okay, that's great that that's your goal, but what is your big goal? How ridiculous is your big goal? And I think what we say to ourselves is we say a lot, oh, we'll never get there, so why even think about it?
Right.
When in reality, it just takes like some steps to get there. Yeah, it does take a lot to make it to Gillette Stadium in general, like never mind selling it out. To take little steps to get there is what's going to help you get there. And just by continuously telling yourself you can do it instead of saying, oh, like maybe, like just saying I can do it, whether you know it's going to happen or not. It's about the journey either way. It's like mindset. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's all it is the mindset. Whether you make it to that goal or not, like it's about your mindset. It really is. It's about, okay, even if I am not going to get there or whatever the case may be, if I continue to believe that I will, the odds of it are going to get closer and closer and closer. And I think that's like kind of what's just been pushing me, is just like knowing that that's my goal in the back of my head and I want to get there someday, whether I do or not. That's my goal. goal. I want to get there, you know?
Yeah. What is a limiting belief that you had that you turned into an empowering belief, Lissa?
I think a big one for me was moving to Nashville. I had always had set in the back of my head for no reason whatsoever, oh, I'm never going to leave like my hometown, never going to leave there. Why would I do that? And then I left my hometown, and then I was like, oh, why would I leave the state? Why would I ever want to leave New England? Why would I leave Massachusetts? There's no reason for that. Then someone had asked me, like, do you want to move down to Nashville? And I was like, maybe. Like, I don't know if that's a right decision for me though. Like, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I have the money. I don't know if my dream is big enough. I don't know if I have the stuff to compete with people down there. And then one day I kind of was just like, this is what I want with my life. People can judge you all you want. It's your life, not theirs. So like, why are you even worrying about what their opinions are?
Right.
How about you, Chelsea?
Honestly, kind of going off of Lissa, I guess I have two things. One of my biggest goals in New York, I basically didn't want to leave New York until I fulfilled my music goals. Like, I wanted to make sure that there was nothing else that I could do at home before I left. And that was playing and opening for like a big band, playing at BAC, which is an amphitheater there, holds like 25,000 people. But I wanted to play on the main stage. I didn't want to do the side stage. And honestly, it was one of those weirdly unrealistic dreams unless you're big. And then I finally got to do it 2 years ago. And that was what really pushed me to leave, because I was, well, now what? That going off of the Nashville thing, I never, same thing, always in the back of my head, but I never thought I'd actually do it. I was like, I'll just visit Nashville and like kind of go whenever. Because I never looked into it that much when I visited, and I mean, fell in love with it, whatever. And I was like, maybe I could do it. And it was the same thing, the money, finding a job. So I went down for a few months just to figure it out. And then I went back 6 months later, and I'm still here. And now, before I was so afraid to leave my hometown, I wanted to more than anything, but it was comfort, and it was like my family's there, and it's just easy. But as soon as I left and I got a taste of something else, all I want to do now is live in so many different places, because now I know I'm capable. I mean, I can be social, but I definitely have social anxiety, and I never thought that I'd be able to overcome that until I did. You don't feel invincible, but you're like, oh my God, I can do anything I put my mind to.
If I can overcome this, I can overcome anything.
Exactly.
Right.
Even after I moved down to Nashville, I had this huge fear that I wasn't going to make friends. I was having a really hard time. I was like the new girl. I was like, I'm never going to make friends. And it took me until, well, first of all, I met Chelsea about 6 months into moving to Nashville, and that definitely was like a huge help when we started hanging out. But it actually took an outside experience that wasn't Nashville to get me on the track to be like, oh, I'm going to make friends. What am I worrying for? I'm just going to get a little personal here. It took church. It took God. That's my personal thing that it took. It took finding someone like Chelsea, for sure. Me and her had a great connection. We ended up becoming really good friends. But then it also took me one weekend in Pennsylvania and experiencing some really crazy crap, but understanding that like I can free myself from the mental space that I'm in. Mm-hmm. That's what it took me to get to that spot.
Something that I found the other day that I posted that I'm just like, oh my God, this is so helpful. I just saw this on like Instagram or something, and I'm going to read it to you guys because I think that it will help. Your competition isn't other people. Your competition is your procrastination, your ego, the unhealthy food you're consuming, the knowledge you neglect, the negative behavior you're nurturing, and your lack of creativity. Compete against that. I just felt like, wow, a lot of times we're thinking, well, we can't have this because this person has this, or this person's better than us, or, you know, like we think of all these limiting beliefs that hold us back. And it's like, oh my God, you know what? You're not competing against other people. You're competing against you.
100%. And that's,
you said that in our group. I feel like I need to read that every day.
Yes.
Yes, please. Seriously. No, like, but it's so true. I was having a conversation with someone, and they were like, you told me something a few weeks ago that really resonated with me. And I was like, what did I tell you? And they were like, you told me that there's no limit on the amount of people that can make it big and famous in this industry. And I was like,
it's so true.
Because there's no cap. Like, there is no higher person saying, oh no, cut off. Like, no, if you can make a label money, if you can make someone money, if you can do this, if you can bring a crowd, if you can do all these things, if you can work for all these things, you can get big. Like, that's all it takes. And it's so funny because I never
thought of that.
I know, it's so simple, but like no one thinks of it because there's so much competition, and we're all like so into the competition. But it's like, okay, great, friendly competition is awesome, but keep it friendly and realize that we can all make it. We can all do it.
Right.
And this is gonna sound terrible. I don't even know if I should say this, but like the whole coronavirus thing and jobs shutting down, I was like, like, well, maybe a lot of people will move out of Nashville now and it will be less competition. And
Yeah.
I
I think
hated
it's normal
myself.
to feel that, to think that.
That's how I felt. Like that was the thought for me too. I completely get you.
I was like, this is terrible to think this way, but like you said, it is competition within yourself. When I was not in Nashville, the amount that I accomplished because I wanted it that badly and did it, and then going down to Nashville, you get intimidated by so many people, and then you kind of minimize. It did the I mean, everyone's different. It did the opposite for me. It minimized my drive because I was so taken back by the amount of talent. I was like, I can't do this. But going back home, I'm like, wait, I can do this. I was like, I did this before, I'm going to do it again.
I think Nashville especially is hard because you do have that competition around you. And that's how it was for me for the first about 8 months, is I was like, do I even belong here? Once I was able to figure everything out, I was like, okay, I do belong here. I'm going to have to go about things differently. And a lot of it is like redirecting and saying, okay, how can I do this differently? And how can I apply myself differently? And how can I use the tools that I used at home and apply them to here? And like, it's a lot of like mapping out and figuring out. And I think that's like a lot of people our age who are moving to different states and different cities. I think a lot of people overthink and they're like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to be in a different place. Like, I don't know these people. But it's like, take those techniques that you use at home and bring them with you and just apply them to how you can apply them to wherever you are.
Yeah, all of these things are people limiting themselves. It's no one out there like pointing the finger and being like, you can't do this, you can't do that. It is our own selves holding our own selves back. And something I like to tell myself is that there's room for all of us in any industry, in anything, whether it's radio or music or anything that there's room for everybody. And that's why I try to support everybody, especially women. That's why I try to support everybody in all endeavors that they're doing. Just because someone is doing something doesn't mean I can't do something. They're going to do their own thing on their own path with their own connections and their own talent. And I'm going to do the same on my own path with my own connections and my own talent. And there is a place for all of us. And it's really hard for people to believe that. And I've done this. I think we all have. You think that if someone gets something, then you can't have it. Or if someone is doing the same thing as you, that takes away from you. And it's easy to feel that way, but you have to try and reframe that thought and realize they are doing it and you can do it too. Just because there's a Katy Perry doesn't mean there can't be a Lady Gaga. You are only you're the only you. So just because there's someone doing the same thing as you doesn't mean that you can't do it. You do it and you do it in your own unique way, and there you are.
I don't know if this is like a good example, and it's not music related, but my best friend was looking for another job and there were no openings in this one office, but she interviewed anyway. They liked her so much, and again, they didn't have any openings. They ended up creating a job title for her. So that's, again, anyone can do that.
Right.
You know, it's a different field, but still.
No, that's okay. That's a good example, though.
Yeah, if people want you bad enough, they'll create a place for you.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think it's all about timing too, you know, and I hate when somebody says, oh, you got this because you're lucky. And I'm like, no, I don't even believe in luck. When things happen, it's because I was prepared and an opportunity came at the same exact time and those things came together. It's luck and preparation coming together for an opportunity. And that's
exactly. And I think that's really huge. Is so many, like, I'll talk to so many people and they'll be like, yeah, but if I'm not, you know, here and if I'm not doing this, and I'm like, for myself, relating it a little back to music, it's like me and Chelsea, I think, can both relate to this. It's one person at one place at one time, whether you are in Colorado, whether you're at home, whether I'm in Nashville, whether I'm in Montana, I don't care where I am. I will tell you, I got my first radio slot, like actual radio slot, like where they played my song during the day, like my first daytime radio slot for, I think it was Cruisin' in Colorado, because 3 months prior I had played a show out there and someone from the Nash station was there. It took that, and they let me come into the studio and it didn't take having to know 5 billion people for it. It took me being at one place at one time, like being at the right place at the right time with the right person sitting there.
exactly.
And I think that's the whole thing, is like a lot of people like are waiting for this email or for this whatever. Sometimes it's not the email, sometimes it's not the phone call, sometimes it's just showing up and doing what you need to do.
Exactly.
And I think this might be a little opposite of it, but I remember having really, really big opportunities when I was like 19, 20 in the music industry. Needless to say, they ended up going with someone else for these things. But I look back on it and I'm like, thank God that I didn't get that spot, because I was like, I was not mentally ready. I wasn't physically ready. So I'm like, just because someone says no to you doesn't mean there's not going to be another better opportunity that comes your way. You know,
Yeah.
you might just not be ready for this.
Exactly. And I would catch myself doubting myself in those moments a lot. Oh, I have this connection to this person. Like, let's see if they need an opener, if they need this or that. And for a while it was like, you know, I would never get a response, but it was like, it was a really downer in my head. It was like, maybe like I'm not gonna like ever be ready for this. Maybe I'm just like 10 steps backwards from where I really am. A few months later, kind of grew a little bit in different ways. And I was like, wait, it's not that I am generally not ready. Like, I'm ready. It's just I had to grow a little bit from that.
Right. I think that a lot of times we think that the things we want are the things we want until we realize that they're not.
Yeah.
It's so many things. And I can't tell you how many times I've been rejected from opportunities I've applied for. There was a couple summers ago, I remember sitting on the beach and I was thinking about it and I'm like, wow, I think I've been rejected like 200 times. Does that mean that I'm like a total reject? No. It means that there's one opportunity that is going to have my name all over it and I just haven't found it yet. And all of these things are not right for me. Whether I think they're right for me right now or not, and maybe I'm just trying and I'm just trying to make connections and put my name out there and whatever, those are not the right fit for me. And eventually the right fit does come along, I'm going to be so glad that those other opportunities didn't work out.
And I think it's important not to bang yourself in the head for that. I think that's where we kind of get caught up.
Yeah. And it's really inspiring to see people that are just massive successes, have them talk about all of the things that not maybe failed at, but were rejected from before they got a big break. It happens to everybody. And I think a lot of times we don't see failures or the no's that other people get. We see the yeses and we're like, oh, wow, it was so easy for them.
If people knew the amount of like no's or no responses me and Chelsea have like received from venues, not even from our own personal things, but just from the Every Brunette Needs a Blonde tour, if you saw the amount of unanswered emails after unanswered emails, people would be amazed. It's so crazy like how we don't
more no's than yeses.
Yeah.
Same. I thought what I wanted was, I don't know, like sometimes you just think you want something and you realize, oh my God, that's not what I wanted after all. And thank goodness it didn't work out, because I would just apply for job after job after job. And I'm telling you, it had to be 200 plus jobs and either no or no response. And then, you know, it rattles you and you think, well, maybe it's not good. Maybe I don't even belong in this industry. I definitely thought that. I'm like, wow, it's been over 10 years. Maybe this industry isn't what I'm good at. Of course, that's not true. Now it's been over 15 years. And if I wasn't good, I wouldn't be there that long. So
yeah, for sure.
Whatever. But, you know, in that moment, of course, everybody questions their ability or their talent or just their worth and their themselves. And I think that's just part of the human experience. And
I think it is too. I think it's just good to understand that like there are people right now who like are very much in between right now. Like, for example, like me, like I'm not gigantic, but I'm not a starter anymore. You know, it's like it's up and coming and it's like you can do it. I came from a place where I was bullied. My parents went through a nasty divorce. I like came from this just awful, really, really low place. I had anger problems, anxiety, pile it on anything you can. And coming from that and then just like showing people this is what you can make out of that. And like you can work from that and you can succeed from that is so rewarding. So like no matter what your struggle is in the past or whatever, like we have to move forward from it and like not let that mentality keep us back. Just move forward with life and like continue to go.
Exactly.
If you want something bad enough and you put out those positive vibes, you're gonna succeed. It might not happen overnight, but it's gonna happen.
Like Chelsea just said, patience is key. It's so key.
Yeah, it's hard.
And it's hard.
Because the key thing is to give up. Of course, you're just like, well, this isn't going to work. But I have always said that. I'm like, you know, I can get a million no's. I don't care. Keep saying no because I'm not going to give up. And eventually someone will say yes. And that's what happens.
And I think the big thing is not being scared of the no's. I don't know why. I think this is probably a like limiting belief right now. I am always so scared to get no's with like right now, my artist development company, something that I really struggle with right now. And I'm always scared of the no. So I take less chances, but it's like a no isn't pain. Like it's not like physical pain. No one's actually hurting you. No one's actually doing anything to you. No one's bashing you. Like they're just turning down the opportunity. And that's cool. Like that's okay. It's just going to lead to more success in the end. Like you're just going to keep working at it and it's going to lead to new ideas and more things.
Sometimes I look at it as a blessing. You know, I get a no and I'm like, good, this is great. I don't have to waste any more time thinking this is the right opportunity for me because you told me no. So that means it's not. And now I can move forward. So thank you.
For sure.
All right, guys. Well, this has been great. This is the end of episode 5 in the mental health series. And I think we ended on a nice, high, positive note.
Yes.
So before we go, Lissa, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much, Lauren, for making this happen. This is really awesome. I'm so glad we were able to share all of this. But you can find me on social media at lissacoulter.com or just at Lissa Coulter. My music's on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all that fun stuff. Give me a follow. Send me a message if you need someone to talk to. I'll always be there.
Perfect. Chelsea, where can everyone find you?
ChelseaSulky.com, Chelsea Sulky Music on Instagram, or just Chelsea Sulky on Facebook. And like Lissa said, DM me whenever. I'll reply.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you guys for your input, your insight, your thoughts, everything. Of course, this is A Voice for Echo, and I'm Lauren Patisi. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Well, A Voice for Echo is there, and also at Radio Lauren is if you want to chat with me, either one works. So that's it, and we're about out of time. So thanks so much, and we'll chat soon. Bye.